The bright afternoon sun poured through the towering glass windows of one of the city's most prestigious corporate headquarters. Executives in expensive suits hurried across polished marble floors while assistants prepared for an exclusive luncheon celebrating the company's newest billion-dollar partnership. Every seat in the executive dining room had been reserved weeks in advance. Crystal glasses sparkled beneath elegant chandeliers, cameras waited outside to capture smiling leaders, and everything appeared perfect. Then, in front of hundreds of employees, the company's young CEO looked at a quietly dressed single father carrying a worn leather folder and calmly informed him that someone like him did not belong in the executive dining room. She ordered him to eat with the maintenance staff downstairs instead. Many lowered their eyes in embarrassment. Some silently pitied the humble father. But less than 5 minutes later, the elevator doors opened again, and the one person nobody expected walked straight past the executive tables. The CEO's own mother ignored every VIP in the room, carried her lunch tray downstairs, and quietly sat beside the single father. In that unforgettable moment, the entire company realized that true class could never be purchased. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, humility, and second chances still matter in today's world, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire so you never miss another emotional journey. The father's name was Elias Rowan, a 40-year-old widower raising his 8-year-old daughter, Maisie, after losing his wife to a sudden illness 5 years earlier. Every morning before sunrise, Elias prepared breakfast, packed school lunches with handwritten notes of encouragement, walked Maisie to the school bus, and then traveled across the city to work as an independent facilities consultant. His job rarely brought recognition. He specialized in improving inefficient commercial buildings, helping companies save money by identifying overlooked maintenance problems before they became expensive disasters. Most executives never noticed people like Elias. To them, he was simply another contractor carrying blueprints instead of authority. But those who truly worked beside him knew something different. He greeted security guards by name. He thanked janitors for keeping workplaces clean. He remembered receptionists' birthdays. He believed every person deserved respect long before they earned impressive titles. That philosophy had been taught by his late wife, who often reminded him that the strongest buildings were supported by foundations nobody ever saw. The corporation Elias visited that morning was led by Seraphine Caldwell, one of the youngest CEOs in the industry. Brilliant, ambitious, and fiercely competitive, she had transformed the company into a financial success within 3 years. Investors admired her confidence. Employees feared it. She measured people almost entirely by position, appearance, and measurable results. Kindness, in her opinion, slowed progress. Respect was reserved for achievement. That afternoon's executive luncheon celebrated record-breaking quarterly profits. Important shareholders, journalists, and board members had gathered upstairs. Elias had been invited only because his maintenance assessment revealed hidden structural issues that could save the corporation millions over the next decade. His report had impressed senior directors. The invitation to lunch came directly from the board secretary. Unfortunately, Seraphine had never reviewed the guest list carefully. When she noticed the simply dressed contractor entering the executive dining room, she immediately assumed a mistake had been made. Without asking questions, she politely but firmly redirected him downstairs toward the employee cafeteria. Several executives exchanged uncomfortable glances. Nobody challenged the CEO. Elias simply smiled. He thanked her for clarifying the seating arrangements and quietly walked toward the elevator. There was no anger. No argument. No wounded pride. He had spent enough years struggling after losing his wife to understand that dignity never depends upon where someone sits. Downstairs, the atmosphere felt completely different. Mechanics laughed over sandwiches. Custodians shared homemade meals. Electricians discussed weekend fishing trips. Someone immediately offered Elias an empty chair. Within minutes he was listening more than speaking, learning names, hearing family stories, and congratulating a janitor whose grandson had recently graduated from college. It felt less like a cafeteria, more like home. Meanwhile, upstairs, another distinguished guest finally arrived. Her name was Helena Caldwell, founder of the corporation and mother of the current CEO. Although officially retired, Helena remained widely respected for building the company from a tiny warehouse decades earlier. She had grown up in poverty. Every success she earned came through relentless work rather than privilege. The first thing Helena always asked before any executive luncheon was remarkably simple. "Where is everyone?" She believed no celebration was complete unless every contributor felt appreciated. When she noticed one guest missing from the executive table, she requested his name. The board secretary quietly explained what had happened. Helena didn't criticize anyone. She simply stood, picked up her lunch tray, and entered the elevator. Every executive watched in stunned silence. Instead of sitting beside investors worth billions of dollars, Helena walked directly into the employee cafeteria. She smiled warmly at Elias. Then she asked whether the seat beside him was available. Conversations throughout the cafeteria suddenly stopped. Nobody understood why the company's legendary founder had chosen the maintenance lunchroom over the executive banquet upstairs. Helena spent the next hour speaking with mechanics, cleaners, receptionists, warehouse workers, and cafeteria staff. She asked about their families, their dreams, their struggles. She thanked each person individually for helping build the company she loved. When she finally spoke with Elias, she quickly recognized something extraordinary. His recommendations inside the maintenance report weren't merely technical. They demonstrated genuine concern for employee safety. Instead of proposing the cheapest solutions, he consistently recommended improvements protecting workers from future accidents. Helena quietly asked why. Elias explained that after unexpectedly losing his wife, he understood how quickly families could change forever. If preventing one workplace injury meant another child kept both parents, every extra dollar became worthwhile. Helena felt tears forming in her eyes. She remembered thinking exactly the same way when founding the business 40 years earlier. Profit had once existed to support people, not replace them. Later that afternoon Helena requested an unscheduled board meeting. Everyone assumed it involved quarterly financial performance. Instead, she discussed culture. She spoke about respect, about forgotten values, about leadership. Then she shared what she had witnessed downstairs. Without mentioning embarrassment or assigning blame, she simply reminded every executive that organizations become truly successful only when every employee feels equally valuable. Silence filled the boardroom. Seraphine realized exactly what had happened. For the first time in years she saw the company through her mother's eyes instead of financial reports. That evening, long after journalists departed, Seraphine personally visited the employee cafeteria. Most workers had already gone home. Only a few remained cleaning tables. She quietly thanked each of them. The following morning she surprised everyone again. Instead of reserving the executive dining room exclusively for senior management, she introduced weekly community lunches where executives, contractors, interns, custodians, engineers, receptionists, and maintenance teams all shared meals together. Assigned seating disappeared. Conversations replaced hierarchy. Within months remarkable changes began appearing throughout the company. Employee satisfaction increased dramatically. Departments collaborated more effectively. Innovation improved because people no longer feared speaking honestly. Turnover reached its lowest level in company history. Investors noticed stronger long-term performance despite no major changes to corporate strategy. The difference wasn't technology. It was trust. Meanwhile, Elias returned to his ordinary life. Each afternoon he still met Maisie after school carrying her favorite chocolate muffins from the neighborhood bakery. He still repaired bicycles for local children free of charge. He still believed the world's greatest achievements happened quietly where nobody applauded. Several weeks later, Helena invited Elias and Maisie to visit the company's anniversary celebration. This time every employee attended together. No separate dining rooms. No reserved status. Only one enormous hall filled with laughter. During the ceremony, Helena publicly recognized Elias, not because he saved millions through maintenance planning, but because one ordinary afternoon reminded an entire corporation what leadership actually looked like. The audience stood together in heartfelt applause. Elias looked toward Maisie sitting proudly in the front row. She wasn't impressed by applause. She simply smiled because her father remained exactly the same person at home as he appeared before thousands of strangers. That consistency became his greatest achievement. Years passed. The company established scholarship programs for employees' children, expanded family leave, improved workplace safety, and created leadership training centered on empathy instead of authority. Business schools across the country later studied the transformation as one of the most remarkable examples of cultural renewal in modern corporate history. Whenever reporters asked Helena what caused the change, she always answered with the same simple sentence. "The day I chose the cafeteria over the boardroom." If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who believes every person deserves respect, leave a heartfelt comment below, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire for more emotional stories about kindness, family, and hope. Special request: before this story ends, please comment, "Respect costs nothing," if you believe true leadership begins with humility. As another warm afternoon sun settled over the city, Elias and Maisie walked hand in hand through a peaceful neighborhood park, sharing ice cream and laughing about ordinary moments that money could never buy. He realized life had not rewarded him because he demanded recognition. It rewarded him because he never allowed hardship to change his character. The CEO learned that titles can command authority, but only humility earns lasting respect. Her mother reminded an entire company that greatness is not measured by the table where you eat, but by the people who gladly choose to sit beside you. And in the quiet glow of that unforgettable day, one humble single father proved that the strongest foundation any business, or any family, can ever build is simple human kindness.